as he is.
Good morning. Dr. Mackie is a devoted husband to his wife Tracy and father to his two sons, Miles Ahmad and Mason Amir. A lifelong resident of New Orleans, Dr. Mackie graduated from high school with a low SAT scores, requiring him to undertake special remedial classes before he was admitted to Morehouse College. He completed his degree in mathematics, graduating magna cum laude and a member of the prestigious Phi Beta Kappa National Honor Society. He was also awarded a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Georgia Tech, where he subsequently earned his master and PhD in medical engineering. While pursuing his doctorate degree, he served as an instructor of mathematics at Morehouse College. Following graduation, he joined the faculty at Tulane University, where he researched heat transfer, fluid dynamics, energy efficiency, and renewable energy. In 2002, he was promoted to associate professor with tenure. Mackie's 11-year academic career ended in June 2007 when Tulane disbanded the engineering school in response to financial hardship induced by Hurricane Katrina. During 2004 and 2005, Mackie was a visiting professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering at the University of Michigan, where he performed research on fuel processors for PEM fuel cells. He enjoyed a respected academic career before refocusing on consulting and professional speaking. Dr. Mackie has won numerous awards, including in a White House ceremony, the 2003 Presidential Award for Excellence in Science, Math, and Engineering Mentoring. In 2002, the Black Engineer of the Year Award for College Level Educator, the 2002 New Orleans Data Weekly News Trailblazer Award, and the Pi Tau Sigma ASME Excellence in Teaching Award in Mechanical Engineering for 2000 and 2002. Always harboring a passion for engineering, Mackie was awarded a patent on a device to retrofit luggage stove bins on 737 and 757 Boeing commercial airlines. Mackie continues in his role as managing partner of Channel Zero Group LLC, an educational and motivational consulting company he co-founded in 1992. He presented to numerous civic and educational institutes, government entities, professional associations, and businesses of every size and industrial focus. Through his travels on online mentoring presents, Mackie reaches millions of students and professionals annually.
Video.
In order to truly compete within our global economy, the United States needs a highly skilled, uniquely qualified labor force to fill the jobs of the future. But are we grooming enough young Americans to fill these jobs? Educational opportunities in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, can open up a world of possibilities for our children right here in the United States. One man has set out to inspire the young people in his community to become the next makers, creators, innovators, and problem solvers of the world's toughest questions, while showing them and his hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana, a pathway out of their struggles. STEM NOLA, founded by Dr. Calvin Mackie, works in tandem with community leaders, parents, STEM professionals, and college students to provide a once-per-month camp for kindergarten through 12th grade students, where they participate in fascinating and fun hands-on learning activities, exploring various facets of STEM. By inspiring, engaging, and exposing these children to concepts, people, and career paths within STEM, the likelihood of them pursuing degrees in STEM fields increases exponentially, having the potential to not only change their own lives, but radically transform their families, community, our nation, and the world. We have the talent right here in our own backyard. Will you too answer the call to become part of the solution? Log on to stemnola.com for more information.
First, I'd like to give thanks to God for giving me the mental, physical, and spiritual strength to stand before you. It's great to be in a place with an organization that still acknowledges our Father, our Creator, and understand what got us here and what's going to keep us here and what's going to take us to where we need to be. Thank you, NABSE. I'd like to say thank you. Maybe God can get a hand clap. Yeah, you're right. I'd like to say thank you to Marietta English and the organization for having me. I'm humbled anytime anybody asks me to do that, which I think I've been put on this earth to do, because 17, 18, 19 years ago, no one made a dollar bet that Calvin Mackie would be standing before anybody, speaking about anything, let alone education and motivation at an auspicious event like this. I remember sitting in Dr. Charles Moody's office at the University of Michigan. He told me about the founding of this organization. And walking out of his office, I was wishing, I was saying, one day I'm going to present in front of that organization. I waited for that call, Miss English, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me. I'd like to say thank you to the 7 anointed men. Young men, you all are truly anointed. While the rest of the world training their people from the neck down, we got to make sure that we continue to train you from the neck up, and you got to understand that your voice and those words can take you around the world. Young brother Chase, keep doing what you're doing. There's powers in those words, young man. When you can manifest those words and they come out your mouth, we know right now that one day you might sit in a place called the White House because you have everything that is take. Because we know you got greatness and royalty, young men, in your DNA is in you. And I'd like to say thank you to NABSE for being on the battlefield for 45 years, doing what you have to do for our children. If you wasn't there, who would be there? And a lot of times when we're educators, we don't see our seeds come back. But now you've seen people that was here at the beginning have come back and now taking positions that many of you are retiring from. And you should always applaud yourself. You should always come together and support each other so that we can go back on the battlefield and do the things that we need to do for our children. So thank you for everything that you do. Give yourself a hand. I spent a lot of time saying thank you because it seemed like we've been able to raise an entire generation of young people who don't know the meaning of words like thank you, excuse me, hard work, sacrifice, persistence. And ma'am, I don't want to be confused with them because my mother raised me differently. Good morning, NABSE. Oh, see, I'm going to have to wake y'all up. I know when y'all saw all that stuff about science and math and engineering, you were like, oh, who didn't brought it up in here? We don't want none of that up in here. You know, we don't want that back in here. But now I'm going to bring it home for you. See, my name is Calvin Mackie. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm from back of town, Gert Town, Zion City. I'm from the lower 9, where we don't mind dying. I'm from that wild magnolia. I thought I told you. I'm from that CP3. You know me. So stop acting like a pair of brand new shoes up in here. Oh no. Like the young people say, the only thing I'm trying to say, Miss English, is that I started from the bottom. And before this speech is over, you're going to realize I can go from 0 to 100. Yeah, this is going to be a different type of presentation. I better give some caveats out before I get started because I done shocked some of y'all already. See, my beautiful wife, Tracy. My beautiful wife, Tracy, happens to be a pharmacist, and she believes that I'm ADD and I've never been treated before. So there's no way, Chase, there's no way, man, I can stand behind this podium and do the things that you just did. There's no way I can stand behind this podium and do what they expected and say, hi, my name is Calvin Mackie, and it's great to be here. Oh, no, it's not going to go down like that. And caveat number two is don't confuse my passion with anger. Don't confuse my passion with anger. Oh, no. Everywhere I go around the world, I've spoken on 3 continents and seven nations. I've eaten lobster, and with my friends from Nova Scotia, from the Council for Canadian Afrocentric Studies. Thank y'all for having me in Nova Scotia. We ate lobsters in the morning. We like lobsters in the evening. We like lobsters at night, like y'all gonna eat shrimp in New Orleans. I've eaten moose, goose, and caribou 1,500 miles north of Montreal in a teepee with the Cree Nation. But everywhere I go, when I get off the stage, somebody always come up to me and talking about, that's an angry young black man right there. No, I'm not angry. I'm passionate. As a matter of fact, Martin Luther King said, at the end of the day, it's not the words of my enemies I shall remember, but the silence of my friends. When you look at the state of education in our community, you look at our children, you look at our schools, you look at things that's happening to us, you look at the dropout rate, look at the incarceration rate, look like somebody should be mad, look like somebody should be angry, look like somebody should be in the streets, look like somebody should be marching. But no, I'm not angry. I'm just passionate. And I'm happy to be here this morning with other passionate people who are on the battlefield fighting for our children. As a matter of fact, Martin Luther King said, at the end of the day, it's not the words of my enemies I shall remember, but the silence of my friends. One day our children are going to look at us and say, why didn't you say something? You knew better. Why didn't you do something? Why did you let this happen? NABSE, we got to stand up and fight for our children, especially in a time like this, when things like this are trying to be dismantled from the ground up. It is our responsibility, it's our duty to die if we got to save our children. Because people like you died so that I can stand here and marshal these words. Matter of fact, James Baldwin said a passion is unfriendly. He said a passion is arrogant. He said a passion is angry. He said a passion is contemptuous of all which is not itself. But more important, he said a passion contains a challenge and it contains an unspeakable hope. So everywhere I go now around this world, when I'm talking about children or talking to anybody who has to do anything with children, I will challenge you. Because we need to be challenged to be better on a daily basis. But 2, I refuse to leave you with an unspeakable hope. And I know somebody ran for president and used the word hope. Now everybody mad at hope, like hope, a 4-letter word. Hope ain't never do us nothing. Hope is the only thing that took us from where we were. Hope is the only thing that got us where we are today. And hope is the only thing that's going to take us where we need to go. I got a friend named Dr. Trude, and Dr. Trude said, Brother Mackie, when you lose money, you've lost a little. He said, when you lose a friend, you've lost a lot. He said, when you lose hope, you've lost it. And as I go across the country looking in the eyes of our children, look like they've lost it. But we're here today to make sure that we bring hope back to all of our children. No, hope is not play. Yeah, all of us want our children to achieve. Everybody say we want our children to achieve. Without understanding, to get to something called achievement, we got to go down a street called hope. Because most of our children are not in a place called hope. Most of our children are in a place called despair. And go from despair to achievement, you got to go through this thing called hope. You can't get there. You see, to go from despair to hope, that's a hard thing. To go from hope to achievement, that's a head thing. NABSE has been on the field for 45 years, taking this hard thing and putting our children in a place where they can achieve. That's why other people can't do what you're doing, because the only thing they can do is talk about whiteboards and chalkboards and equipment. Technology never saved anybody. It never saved anybody. I never heard a kid talking about, when we got that smart whiteboard, I knew then I was going to be great. I never heard a kid say, when we got that new energy efficiency bus, I knew then I was going to change the world. The only thing that ever changed a kid's life, was somebody caring like you, looking them in their eyes, grabbing them by their collars, and saying those 4 magic words. I believe in you. That's the only thing. That's the hope that I'm talking about. No, hope is not play. See, hope is the thing that caused the old lady to sit down and caused a nation to stand up. Hope is the thing that made George Washington Carver do with a peanut 100 years ago that Harvard PhDs still cannot do today. Hope is the thing that made Tuskegee Airmen believe that they could fly airplanes when their own government told them they couldn't. Hope is the thing that just turned Detroit red into Malcolm X. Hope is the thing that turned crackheads into teachers and pimps into preachers. Hope is the thing that took a black preacher and made him have a dream that he could change the world. And you got to remember that Martin Luther King wasn't killed because he had a dream. Martin Luther King was killed because he got up every day and tried to make his dream come true. Hope is the thing that took a 47-year-old man and sent him to jail for 27 years and he came out a world leader. Hope is the thing that made Patrick Henry say, give me liberty or give me. We understand the death thing, Black Lives Matter. We after this liberty thing still. Hope is the thing that made even your founder, made John F. Kennedy say, don't ask what your nation can do for you, ask what you can do for your. Hope is the thing that made even our founder fathers right. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created. Hope is the thing that made a black boy with a white mom and a go-herding daddy make him believe that he can be president. And a whole lot of people said, no, you can't. But we stood up and said, yes, you. See, hope is that little voice in your head that whispers maybe when the whole world is screaming no. I don't know about you, but I'm like many of the little kids that you deal with every day. When I came to school, when I went to college, I thought my name was no. Many of the kids you see every day, they think their name is no. Can I cross the street? No. Can I come to your school? No. Can I do some STEM? No. Can I do some math? No. Can I go to the park? No. Can I come to your store? No. I was out last night. I saw one of y'all, and I said, didn't I ask you for your number years ago? No, she told me. No. But I tell you this, I don't care where our children come from. I don't care who told them no. I don't care if they crazy mama or they crackhead daddy. I don't care who told them no. When they come into your classroom, when they come into your school, when they come into your district, when they stand before you, we're gonna tell them yes. That's our responsibility. That's our duty. And when our children believe, when they get that hope, when they get from despair to hope, when they believe, they're going to understand then that there's no man, no woman, no government can put before them that which they cannot overcome. That's how we got here. We didn't have all this fancy stuff and all these scores and all this to get us here. We had people like you in the classroom believing us and said, boy, sit your behind down. It was my third grade teacher that grabbed me by the collar. And she said, boy, you're going to learn and I'm going to kill you. But Miss English, I chose life. I chose life. Tony, we got to give more kids options this day. We got to give them options. If you don't learn, I'm going to kill you. And that's why it was important for us to applaud the 7 anointed men. That's why it's important for us to applaud Chase. We got to begin to celebrate and applaud our children when they do stuff, when they're not running touchdowns, when they're not dribbling a basketball, when they're not running 100 meters. We got to show them that greatness is in their DNA. That's who we are. That's who we are. And don't we ever forget it. And if you look at the news, and you look at TV, and you listen to people, you'll think we are Martians that have come from another place. We know it's in our children. And our children deserve 3 things. There's 3 things every educator should give their children. I got 2 sons. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm black. And my sons are black. And my wife black. And our parents were black. And in Kissimmee, we go to a black church. And my grandparents was black. And my teachers was black. And somehow we learned. Somehow we achieved. Somehow we are scholars. Somehow we on TV. Somehow we giving speeches. Somehow we giving books. And the only thing we ever had was black. But somehow somebody want us to believe today that the problem in the classroom is the black teacher in the front. The problem in the district is the black principal. The problem with the district is the black superintendent. Somehow everybody got the answer for us without ever having to ask us. Everybody believed that they got the answer for our children, and we have nothing to say. Well, I got 2 little black boys, And Kasim, as they say in the good book, as for me and my house, this is the way I'm going to raise my kids. And I got 2 little scholars. And everything is here is in Jefferson Parish. And my 2 sons go to the best 2 magnet schools in Jefferson Parish, and they are the top students at both of those schools. As a matter of fact, I was talking to the parish here about STEM, and they was talking to me like I was 12 years a slave. And I said, y'all talking to me about STEM is like me talking to Belichick or Drew Brees about football. My son is the #1 student in Jefferson Parish, Parish Student of the Year. In the 8th grade, my son made a 28 in math on the ACT. So we started an organization called STEM NOLA. And STEM NOLA goal is to expose and inspire and engage kids in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Not to turn kids into scientists, or not to turn kids into engineering, but to give our kids the critical skills that they're gonna need in the 21st century, which is critical thinking, which is communication, which is collaboration, which is creativity, which is community, because they're gonna have to learn and work with people who otherwise not like them. And in 4 years, we've engaged over 12,000 K-12 kids in hands-on, project-based STEM activities. 87% of those kids have come from backgrounds with free and reduced lunch. So we're doing what other people say cannot be done. NABSE has been doing it for 45 years. Our kids need 3 things from you. The first thing they need from you is skill sets. See, if we only focus on skill sets, then a whiteboard makes sense. Because if we can, you listen to some people, you believe that you can put a monkey in front of the class with our kids and the kids will be okay. Just take a smart whiteboard and put it in front of the class. And I see all the time, now we got smart whiteboards and dumb black children. I said it, I meant it, and I'm here to represent it. They can understand spending money on stuff because they can justify that and run their stock price up, but they can't justify spending money on you, making sure that you paid what you're supposed to be paid, making sure that you got the professional development that you deserve, making sure that you got the training that you deserve, such that you can stand in front of that class and be the smart black person to our kids. See, I don't usually get invited back to places, Miss English. They don't invite me back. So they need the right skill sets. The man and woman who have skills ask people how much they charge. But the man and woman who have skills, the man and woman who doesn't have skills ask people how much they charge. The man and woman who does have skills tell people how much they charge. We have to make sure that our kids got skills in the 21st century to pay the bills. And that's why STEM is so important. And I'm not taking anything from the liberal arts or the humanities. It's clear I got both sides of the brain going on. And it's clear our kids are going to be able not only to speak and sing to make it in the 21st century, but they're going to have to be able to count and critically think too. See, 47% of the jobs that exist today, they already say are going to be obsolete in the next 10 to 20 years. Gone. In the 21st century, our children are going to have only 3 options. They're only going to have 3 options. Either they're going to take something, break something, and or make something. And if we don't give them the skills and education to make something, we only leave them with the 2 options that we see on the news every night, and that's to take and break. And that's what we don't want for our kids. And when I say our kids, I'm not even talking about black kids. I didn't say black, I didn't say white, I didn't say Asian, Hispanic. Look, this is a competition going into the future. Every year, Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates go to Congress and fight for more H-1B visas to get foreign workers over here because they know our children will not be equipped to take those jobs or create the innovation of the future. So we got to make sure that our children have the skills to pay the bills and do the things that they need to do. The third thing that our kids need, our kids got to have assets. And I'm not talking about money. See, there's 2 types of wealth in this world. First type of wealth is making money, and that's the one that got us confused because, Pastor, that's the lowest form of wealth. The second form is wealth is making a difference, which is the highest form of wealth. And I can prove it to you. There are billionaires in the grave, young men, and nobody know their name because while they was alive with a whole lot of money, they did nothing for nobody. But there are statues built around this city, built around Atlanta, built in all the cities of people like you who otherwise committed their lives to saving people, and people remember their name. So the assets our children need is not so much money right now. They can get the money. They need people. Young men, if you want to know how you got here today, just go back 5 years and look at the 5 people you hung out with 5 years ago. Young men, if you want to know where you're going to be in 5 years, look at the 5 people you're hanging with today. And that's why it's good that you all come to a conference like this and make friends and make colleagues, because you got to build your pack, build your circle, such that you all can get in your little power groups, such that you all can plot to take over the world. That's what it got to be. That comes from the people in your life, the assets, the people pouring into you. When you can pick up the phone and call somebody and say, how should I handle this? As a matter of fact, Charles Moody said, when you get in trouble, you look around to see who's with you. That's how the organization got founded. So you come here to find people such that when you're having a problem in your school or you're having a problem in your district, you can pick up the phone and say, look, rally the troops. I need your help. What should I do? The third thing our kids need after skill sets and after assets, they need the right mindset. They need the right mindset. And I'm not talking about grit, and I'm not talking about a Dweck book. I mean, our kids, you're going to tell poor kids from the hood about grit. You know what I had to do to get to school? You know what I had to get through just to get here? And you're going to tell me about stick-to-itness? And I'm not talking about the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, because we know when we look at the football field every Sunday, when we look at the basketball court every night, if nothing else, we know black men got the growth mindset. The only problem is that the teachers in front of them got the wrong mindset. See, the teacher in front of them believe that if he do 10 push-ups or he do 10 100-yard dashes, he'll be stronger, he'll be faster. But the teacher in front of them don't believe that if he do 10 algebra problems, he'll be smarter. If he study the spelling words 10 more times, he'll be smarter. If he work with him 30 days, he'll be smarter. No, just run that ball. Don't worry about that book. They got the wrong mindset. The mindset we need is the mindset my grandmother had. Somehow my grandmother was born in 1899, died in 1987, functionally illiterate, never set foot in a schoolhouse. My grandmother taught more by accident than most people do on purpose. My grandmother would trip and teach a lesson. My grandmother would trip and go, oh, baby, don't let the cracks in the world stop you. Keep going, keep going. Somehow now with big old schools and buildings and all type of computers, we can't get our kids out of the hood. My grandmother gave me 6 lessons such that we hold on to them. My grandmother gave me 6 lessons such that we can embed these into our kids on a daily basis. My grandmother gave me the 6 lessons that I know brought all of you all here, such that if we can get these lessons right again, it'll transform our students. This is the mindset my grandmother had, and this is the mindset that we got to bring back. My grandmother used to say things like, every closed eye ain't sleep. Every goodbye ain't gone. Everything done in the dark will come to light. Misery loves company. Birds of a feather. If you lay down with dogs, nah. PhD. That's PhD. The only problem is that too many of our young women laying down with dogs and getting up with more than fleas. Now all our young men want to be dog. What up, dog? What up, dog? What up, dog? Instead of calling yourself DOG, why don't you call yourself GOD? God on his search with a mission and a vision for your family and your community. That's the mindset that we need. You see, I was a professor at Tulane University. But in the aftermath of Katrina, the president of Tulane University did something that was unbelievable. In the aftermath of Katrina, my family lost 29 houses. 12 years ago, March 28, I lost my daddy. 6 days before that, March 22nd, I lost my stepmother because they couldn't get the treatment that they deserved in the aftermath of the greatest engineering disaster in a history of a free country called America. This is a special place because 30,000 people of our people was right there on that street corner. And I said, never again. When I looked at our children on the street corner after Hurricane Katrina, I said, never again shall our children end up on the street corner, with a sign saying, help me, when they could have helped themselves. We got to make sure that all of our children get some dirt beneath their feet, some wind behind their back, and put something in their head so that they can take care of themselves. In the aftermath of Katrina, the president of Tulane University decided to eliminate the engineering program but keep the football team. So as the first and only African-American ever tenured in the history of the College of Engineering at Tulane University at 34 years old, I lost my six-figure dream job. And my buddy was a coach, and he called me, and he said, Doc, who'd ever thought you'd be here, you'll be gone as a tenured faculty member, and I'll still be here as a coach? And I said, young man, don't get it wrong. I said, maybe the young men in the hood got it right. He said, what you mean? I said, maybe I should have been doing wind sprints when I was studying calculus. Because the message that the president of Tulane University sent to the children of New Orleans is the message that higher education is sending to our children on a daily basis. And that message is, you can come to this university and run that rock, dunk that ball, hit that pill, stop, and drop it like it's hot and entertain us. But don't you think about coming to this institution and getting a math degree, or engineering degree, or a medicine degree, and saving yourself and your community from the next natural disaster. Higher education has become like hospital with doctors that don't want sick patients. Full of doctors. I was taught education means to take out of darkness and bring into the light. Matter of fact, when you go to Tuskegee, there's Booker T. Washington there removing a veil of ignorance off the guy's face. But yet now, higher education standing around and say, send me your brightest, send me your smartest, send them to me. You got a bunch of doctors there who ain't never did nothing for anybody. They bring in the best kid, then they watch the best kid for 4 years, then they let the best kid go free after 4 years and then brag about the fact that their well kid didn't get sick. Oh, don't miss the analogy. Don't miss the analogy. But you on a daily basis, dealing with the sick kid, dealing with the kids who otherwise got some problem, dealing with the kids that otherwise got some disadvantages. And you're the real doctor because you're taking people out of darkness and bringing them into the light. It often blow my mind. They say, that's the best school over there. I say, well, education is the only industry where they don't take the best and put on the worst. If that's the best school over there, because if my kid busts his head, I'm going to get on the internet and I'm going to find the best neurosurgeon in the world and say, I want her. But we got this so-called blue ribbon school, the best school, or they turn out kids great. I said, well, take all them teachers from over there and put them over here. If they so good, then they need to be over here. If they the doctors and the experts, then they need to be working on the hardest problems. And then maybe we can solve this thing. And then when they see what you're dealing with, then they be like, nah, you can have this money. I don't want this. You can have all this back. In spite of it all, you have made a difference. Don't ever let anybody forget. Don't let them forget. See, growing up in the city of New Orleans, I was just like many other kids that you all are dealing with. You probably could tell by now. And I had a wicked crossover and a jump shot that just wouldn't quit. Griggs, when I used to come in the gym, everybody in the gym would go, shh, because they know it's going to be raining threes all night long. But one night I was playing a basketball game against Master P, as a matter of fact, and I took a long jump shot, one of the few jump shots I missed, ricocheted off the rim, and I went to get the ball, and the young man beat me to the ball. He grabbed my ball in my arm. They went that way. I went this way, and I suffered a traumatic shoulder separation. My coach said, oh, no, Calvin, and he took me to the hospital. We got to the hospital, the doctors looked, and the doctor looked, and he ran out. And the doctor came back in with 3 more doctors. And all 4 of the doctors got around me, and they took a sheet, coach, and they took the sheet, and they tied me up, and they did a tug-of-war, chasing, and they popped my shoulder back in. And they said, young man, there's 2 things we want to tell you, and I went gangsta on them. I'm like, what? They said, 1, you suffered a traumatic shoulder separation. They said, 2, you'll never be able to play basketball again. My dreams was destroyed. And right then and there, those doctors told me to go have surgery. Those doctors told this ignorant little boy to go have surgery, but I would not listen. NABSE, when we won't listen, we're already part of the walking, breathing, living dead with no future and no hope. We got to be about lifelong learning. You all need to attend every session here. You all need to listen so you all can grow and go back and do what you need to do for our children. You know, when you won't listen, things happen to you. And you know, like every other brother that played basketball in high school, I was still going to the NBA. And you know, 20 years later, and 30 more shoulder separations, because you know somebody right now talking about, yeah, dog, I'm going to the NBA. Like, fool, you better take up some golf. 20 years and 30 more shoulder separations. I'm speaking at the University of Michigan, John, and I do something crazy on the stage and my shoulder popped out. Bam! The lady on the front row went, ah! My client ran up on the stage. He said, what's wrong, Mackie? What's wrong? I said, I separated my shoulder. He said, what to do? I said, hold me, hold me. And right then, there had two grown men on the stage like this. And I was thinking, thank God, this is a blue state. He said, what to do? I said, twist my arm, twist my arm. He twisted my arm and he popped it back in and he grabbed the mic. He said, look, we got to stop. Dr. Mackie has injured himself giving a speech. And with my good hand, I grabbed the mic and I said, oh no. I said, this is what my daddy taught me and this is what I try to teach kids all across America. And I hope this is what you're teaching your kids every day. My daddy taught me that Mackie men are smart. We finish what we thought. We got to let our children know they got to finish this thing. High school right now is a minimum certification. And I had to finish because just like 1,000 people in here, I'm going to be signing books outside and I had to make sure I was able to sign them books with my broken arm. After I finished, it took me off the stage. It brought me to the hospital. After I got to the hospital, they put me through an MRI. After the MRI, they put me through 4 hours of emergency surgery. After 4 hours of emergency surgery, I had to go through 18 months of rehab. After 18 months of rehab, this is only as high as I can lift my shoulder now. See, when you won't listen, there got to be consequences and repercussions. They may not happen now, but if they don't happen now, they definitely will happen later. And people say, well, Mackie, what's the repercussion you not listening about your shoulder? I say, I have 2 beautiful sons, and they play flag football. And every time I go to the game and they score a touchdown, I'm at the game like this, touchdown. My son's embarrassed. Other people laughing. They're like, who dad is that? My son like, that ain't my daddy. Because I wouldn't listen. We got to listen. If you won't listen, what make you think your kid's going to listen? We got to be able to grow. I'll never forget my coach brought me home that night after I separated my shoulder. You see, my daddy dropped out of school in 8th grade to pick cotton. My mother went to a state-approved Negro high school. Miss English, I grew up in a house with no books. The only thing my mama wanted for her 6 children was an education. And my coach knocked on the door, knock, knock, knock. My mom answered the door. He said, Miss Mackie, your son has separated his shoulder and never be able to play basketball again. My mom looked me in the face and she said, what are you going to do now? We told you to study. We told you to study. I said, Mama, what about my shoulder? She said, boy, shut up and get in this house. That's a real mama there. We have real mamas like that, and a lot of these problems will go away. I came in the house and I looked up and said, God, what am I going to do? And God said, boy, don't worry about your head. Don't worry about your arm. You're going to do more for this world with your head than you'll ever do with your legs and your arms. NABSE, we got to make sure that we are training our kids from the neck up and not the neck down. We do what we do with STEM NOLA because every Saturday this country makes sure there's 1 million black men playing football, hoping, believing, and dreaming that one day there'll be 1 or 250 and get drafted and become millionaires. We live in a country that makes sure that every Saturday there's 1 million black and brown boys playing basketball, hoping, dreaming, and believing that one day there'll be 1 of 50 that get drafted and become millionaires. We live in a country that makes sure that there's 1 million kids every Saturday swimming, running track, doing something in an individual sport, hoping and dreaming that one day they'll be the one to win a gold medal and become millionaires. I do STEM and train our kids in STEM because, Chase, I want all of our young men and young women to believe on a daily basis we need 1 million kids doing STEM every day, especially black and brown kids dreaming and believing that one day they'll be 1 of the 14 million millionaires in the world or 1 of the 1,865 billionaires in the world. There are more billionaires in the world than there are NFL football players. So if I got 2 sons, why I'm going to have them out there 3 hours a night playing ball, trying to thread the eye of a needle when I can give them the skills and education such that one day they can take over the world? We got to believe. We got to believe. I got up the next day and I went to my school to find my favorite teacher, Miss V. I walked into the classroom and said, Miss V, you heard about my... She said, shut up, Kelvin, we heard about your shoulder. She said, but what are you going to do now? We told you to study. We told you to study. I said, Miss V, I don't know. She said, Kelvin, I don't know ain't good enough no more in the 21st century. I said, Miss V, I don't know. She said, Kelvin, tell me something. I said, Miss V, I don't know. She said, tell me something, Kelvin. She said, in the 21st century, there'll only be 2 types of people, Kelvin. It won't be black or white, won't be Asian or Hispanic. It'll be those in the know and those not in the know. Kelvin, we want you in the know. We got to make sure that all of our children are in the know. She said, tell me something. Kelvin, tell her, Miss V. I want to be an engineer. She said, who? You? You grew up in a house with no books. See, educators, life and debt lives in the tongue. Now, I don't care who's speaking debt to our children. When they come to your school or they come to your school district, everybody should be speaking life. She said, Kelvin, you know what an engineer does? I said, no, but it sounds real good. She said, well, look, Kelvin, if you're going to be an engineer, you got to go to college. I said, bet. She said, Kelvin, nobody in your family ever been to college. I said, I'm going to go. She said, all right, Kelvin, you're going to go to college. You have to go take this test. I said, what test? She said, the SAT. The NABSE. I was ignorant. And I was ignorant because I grew up in a house with no books. And young men, don't get bent out of shape when people call you ignorant. Ignorant means you just don't know. Stupid means there's no hope for you. Flavor Flav, stupid. Meek Mill was stupid for messing with Drake back to back. I was so ignorant when they told me to go take the SAT. I thought SAT meant Saturday. Doc, and then I knew it meant Saturday because then they told me the test was on. Genius. So that Friday, I took my little girlfriend to the game to support our team. After the game, I went to the little dance where I got my boogie on with my broke on. Then I took my girlfriend home, and I got up on Saturday morning to take my Saturday test. And all the kids who had been mentored and educated by you, they realized this was a very important day, and they were ready for their test. And like Kanye West said, nobody could tell them nothing. They put their head down. They had to wake me up. Say, young man, wake up, wake up. They said, take this test. And they gave me that test. And I looked at that test. And I didn't know that word, it's that word, it's that word, it's that word. So y'all know what our children do when they don't know what they're supposed to know. I start going A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A, B, C, D. Whoa! I better change this thing up. C, B, C, B, A, D. Yeah, I know y'all got the college. I see it all in y'all eyes. I know my kind. I looked around, I was the first one finished. I was like a bunch of dummies and put my head back. They had to wake me up, young man, wake up, go home. And back then we didn't have MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, and websites. We had to wait 6 weeks on our scores. So Chase, 6 weeks later, I went to the mailbox, I looked, I saw those scores. Little man, I pulled them out and I ripped them open and I looked at them. I said, oh yeah. And I went to school to find my teacher, Miss V. When I walked into the classroom, Miss V said, Kelvin, you got him? I said, I got him, Miss V. Miss V said, Kelvin, how did you do? Ignorantly and confident, I looked at Miss V. I said, Miss V, I got 84%. She said, Kelvin, 84% on the SAT? That's unbelievable, Kelvin, especially for you. She said, but Kelvin, I never heard the test explained in percentages before. She said, Kelvin, what's your raw score? What's your total score? Ignorantly and confident, I looked at it and I screamed, 840. She said, no, boy, you got some issues. The test is not out of 1,000, Kelvin. The test is out of 1,600. You don't have 84%. You barely have 50%. You need to go take this test again. So, no, not that Saturday test. I do much better on Fridays. I'll stick with my Fridays. But just like you, Ms. V realized that man cannot create a test to measure what's inside of us if we're willing to get up and work towards it every day. She said, Kelvin, you still want to be an engineer? I said, bet. She said, Kelvin, there's a college recruitment fair in the New Orleans Superdome next Saturday. Don't let any test tell you what you can do. We've been working with you. We know what you can do. Go to that career fair. And I went to that career fair the next Saturday, and I kicked the door open, and I walked in. Miss English, the first table I saw was the Georgia Tech engineer. Like divine intervention. Thank you, God. And I went over to the Georgia Tech table. And I got to the Georgia Tech table. The guy at Georgia Tech said, what can I do for you, son? I said, man, I'd like to be an engineer. He said, you came to the right place. We're the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech and heck of an engineers. I was like, yeah, yeah. He said, son, what's your SAT score? Ignorantly and confident, I looked at him and I screamed, 840. He was shaking his head. He wouldn't even give me an application. He said, boy, you can't come to our school. I never even heard the dude had conniptions. But you see, the story there is just because the school ranked number one, that doesn't mean it's number one for our children. And also, we got to let our young men and young women know that when we don't do what we're supposed to do, that give men and women the right to slam doors in their faces. And we're here to do that today to make sure that never again, any of the kids that we teach, somebody will slam a door in their face. He said, look, you can't come to this school and just happen to point at a little raggedy table in the corner with a man at the table. Matter of fact, he didn't even have a skirt on the table. And I walked over to the table, and the guy said, what can I do for you, son? I said, man, that dude over there told me to come over here. He said, son, what you want to be? I said, I want to be an engineer. He said, you came to the right place. He said, son, what's your SAT score? I said, man, I can play some ball. He said, no, I need those scores. I said, man, I can dance. He said, no, I need those scores. This time I whispered. I said, 840. And he was shaking his head. He said, I tell you what, son, you're a diamond in the rough, but a diamond sure enough. Sign right here and come to Morehouse. We'll make you into a doctor. We'll make you into a lawyer. We'll make you into an engineer. NABSE, we are here because we know our children are diamonds in the rough, but they are diamonds sure enough. And for 45 years, we've been shining them up. And then he said, come to Morehouse. In June 1985, my mom took me to Morehouse. And when I got to Morehouse, everybody laughed at the way I talked. They laughed at the way I talked. We talk funny in New Orleans. And they laughed at me because I was saying things like I'm bowdy. How you do that there? And I'm the man right here. You heard me, Lil Wody? It's off the heezy for sheezy up in here, cousin. You see, I'm bilingual. I'm bilingual. See, boys, I'm bilingual, bro. See, you don't have to come in via Ellis Island or the Rio Grande or get on a board or a piece of cardboard and land in America and be a person in need of English as a second language. Nobody was conjugating the verb to be in my house. It was I be, we be, you be, all us be up in here. But people like you believed in people like me. And Morehouse said, look, boy, that ain't right. We're going to help you. Don't pay us go. Go directly to remedial reading. And luckily, Morehouse believed in this thing called hope, like NABSE believes in hope. Now, on my way to remedial reading developmental mathematics every day, there was a quote that said, when you find out that you're behind in a race of life, you got choices. Run faster or quit. The problem in America that too many of our children are quitting. We got to make sure that our children keep running. Morehouse took me and put me in the basement of a building with 8th graders. And they put me in front of a TV. And every day they let the words go by faster and faster. I remember at Morehouse, the black teacher used to call me doctor. And I couldn't even spell PhD. But he believed in me. And I read and I read and I read. And after 3.5 years, after being told that I wasn't college material, after 3.5 years, I finished Morehouse, #1 in mathematics. Number 5 in the largest class Morehouse ever graduated, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. And when I walked off that stage, they put a microphone in front of my face. And they said, Kelvin, when your father dropped out of school in 8th grade to pick cotton, when your mother went to a state-approved Negro high school, who'd ever thought you'd come to Morehouse and do the things you've done? What are you going to do now, Kelvin? Chase, you know what I told him? I said, man, you know what? He said, what? I said, bro, you know what? He said, what? I said, I'm going to Georgia Tech. It's only 1.5 miles away and a $1.50 bus ride. Don't allow anybody to stand in the way of your dreams and our children's dreams. Not their mama, their daddy, their race, their socioeconomic background. Nothing should stand between us and what we've been put on this earth to do. I'm wrapping up. And 2 weeks later, I started Georgia Tech, the school they say I'm never supposed to be. 18 months later, I finished my second undergraduate degree. 2 degrees in 5 years to the inner city ghetto kid from back of town, Gertown, Zion City of New Orleans, who they said never should have been in college in the first place. Don't get it twisted. I'm not here to talk about the greatness in me. I'm here to let you know about the greatness in every last kid that sit before us. 2 years after that, I got a master's in mechanical engineering. And 4 years after that, I got a PhD in mechanical engineering, 4 degrees in 11 years. Look, I didn't come in this for to brag. I came here to tell you that story to let you know that each and every one of us been impregnated with something so great, such that if we give birth to it, it'll make Bill Gates look like a midget in the annals of history. But yet and still, too many of us and too many of our children have already committed to having abortions on their dreams. Why are you here? Are you here just because you got a job? Or are you here today just because you never hung out on Bourbon Street and I want to be here? Are you just here because it was like a free vacation? Or are you here to get all the knowledge and wisdom that you can get to go back and pour into all of our children? My little brother is an actor. I believe one day we're going to have to write a book about how entertainment and athletics have underdeveloped black America. Somehow we can support and clap when our kids run a touchdown, but we can't support and clap when our kids get a perfect ACT score. We got to change this thing. But I called my brother, and he's filming Captain America 2 now. His name is Anthony Mackie. He was Papa Doc in 8 Mile. He was Tupac in Notorious. He's done about 50 movies in the last 10 years, the hottest black actor in America right now, but people don't know him because he actually acts. So he take roles that you see him everywhere, you're going, who is that dude? And I said, man, I'm about to speak to these black educators. What do I tell them? He said, tell them what you told me when our mama died. Tell them how about I was in the 9th grade, and we had to sit there and watch the undertaker come in and remove our mother's body at the tender age of 51 from breast cancer. Tell them how you and I fought like cats and dogs till my lips was bloody, till your knuckles was swole because you would not give up on me because the teachers you had would not give up on you. Tell them that when our mama died, the teachers at the middle school came to the house so they can deal with us so that we wouldn't bring this grief back to the school, and somehow we got to bring the education back to the community and deal with kids where they are. And he was in a movie called The Hurt Locker. And Hurt Locker got nominated for 9 Oscars and was up against the movie Avatar for like $1 billion. And I'll never forget, my brother called me and he said, man, we going to the Oscars. I said, what? He said, we going to the Oscars. I said, what? He said, we going to the Oscars. I said, what? He said, we going to the Oscars. He said, look, man, we going. I said, I'm going. He said, look, you said, you know that suit you always wanted? I said, yeah. He said, go get that, I got it. He said, you know those shoes? You know those ugly alligator shoes like they wear in Detroit? You know them shoes? Go get them. I got it. And I said, look. I said, all right, little brother. So the next day I said, little brother, do me one favor. He said, what? I said, tell Beyonce I'm coming. And I went, and I got my suit measured. I got them shoes. I came back home the next day. And my brother called. He said, look, you got the suit? I said, I got that, little brother. He said, you got them shoes? I said, I'm walking around the house with them now. He said, look, I'm flying you first class. I said, little brother, guess what? He said, what? I said, that's the only way I fly. He said, but look, you got to come in on this day. And then we're going to crystal, get swag bags. Then we're going to go to the event. I said, no. What day? He said, that day. I said, I can't come in on that day. He said, no, you come in on that day. I said, I can't come on that day. I'm going to come on this day. He said, if you come on this day, you mess up the flow, and you can't get in the Oscars, so you come on this day, or you can't come. I said, well, I'm not coming. He said, what? He said, why you going to miss the Oscars? I said, I got to go speak to some kids in Arkansas. He said, you going to miss the Oscars for some kids? I said, yeah, little brother, because you've been saved already. And educators know. Educators know. Like Jay-Z said, our job is never over. It's on to the next one. Maybe those little kids in Arkansas, little brother, need to hear what you heard, such that now you speak it to the world. I said, you go to the Oscars, and if you are who they say you are, a superstar, there'll be another Oscars, and I'll catch you then. So he went to the Oscars, I went to Arkansas. I came back from Arkansas, spoke to the kids in Arkansas, I came home. I had to watch the stupid Oscars. Never watched them before, but I had to watch them because my little brother on there. I had to watch it to the end, and when it got to the end, the only way he get on stage is they make Hurt Locker the movie of the year. And they screamed, and they said, movie of the year, The Hurt Locker. Everybody ran up on stage, and this little black boy on the stage, and he's up there screaming and kicking, and he's jumping up and down, and I'm sitting at home looking at the TV going, come on, man, behave yourself. You know better than that. Hey, man, stop doing that. Act like you've been somewhere before. Stop that, dog. Wife trying to get, I don't want to talk. Phone ring, I don't want to talk to nobody. And I'm sitting there looking at that TV, Miss English, crying, wishing that my mama was still alive to see her baby in front of the world. Sitting there crying, wishing that my daddy, who didn't have the opportunity to go to school, my brother went to Juilliard, was there to watch his son speak to 44 million people. Sitting there crying, wishing that the teachers that told me and my brother that we'll never be nothing was watching that TV, learning that it's not within their purview to decide who has greatness in them. That's not who we are. Sitting there crying, wishing that the black educator that did see greatness in my brother DNA, did see the arts in his DNA when his big brother wanted him to be an engineer. And she snatched him out those engineering and mathematics courses and said, no, baby, your gift over here. I wish she was watching the TV knowing that a part of her was up on that stage. That's what this thing is about. It's not within us to decide who got greatness in them. NABSE, we're not here to play, to dream, to drift. We got hard work to do and loads to lift. Shun not the struggle, 'tis God's gift. Let's get busy saving our children right now. Thank you all for listening. God bless you. God bless you. I got to get the money back.
Sorry to show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mackie. Thank you so much. Please come. Please come. I don't know about you, but I'm so touched, motivated, knowing what our charge is today to go back and know that our children have that in their DNA. They are going to be great, and it's up to us to see that greatness in each and every one that comes before us. Thank you again for that message.
Thank you.
And on behalf of the executive board of NABSE, we'd like to present you with our symbol, our apple.
Thank you.
Means so much.
I finally got an apple.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you.
very much. So thank you. I told Dr. Mackie he had to really bring it. Did he bring it? Okay, we have some announcements. One, Dr. Kathy Owens Oliver from ETS. She will be presenting today at 2:30 p.m. in room 213. It's not listed on the app, so if you intend to go to her workshop, she is going to be in room 213. And I think there's some other announcements. Dewana?
Yes, Madam President, thank you. There are many conference activities and dynamic sessions for you to attend during your conference experience here